We've got some midweek MLS action this week taking place on Wednesday and Thursday, and I've got 3 bets that I want to make from the midweek card. First up, I want to look at 2 parlays from Wednesday's games. Let's look at Toronto and Columbus. Both teams have 20 points on the season. They played earlier this season, which was a 2-1 home win for the Crew. Toronto also won on the weekend 2-1 themselves over Atlanta, but it was the 24th straight game where they've allowed a goal. They've also allowed a goal in 45 of 46. Columbus drew 0-0 on the weekend, and while their offense hasn't looked good, you simply cannot count on TFC keeping a clean sheet against anybody right now. They are, though, good enough to score a goal against a Crew team that have just 1 win in their past 6. So let's go both teams to score in Toronto and Columbus, and let's pair it with a Seattle goal against Montreal. Seattle is 5-1-1 in their past 7, scoring in 6 of those games, and are rounding into form. They just won 3-0 at home this weekend against Sporting Kansas City, even without Raul Ruidiaz. Montreal are also off a win, but they didn't look that good in defeating an expansion team, Charlotte, that were down over 10 players due to COVID. Montreal's conceded in 15 of 16 games this season, and that trend should continue against Seattle. So let's go both teams to score, Toronto and Columbus, paired with Seattle to score in the parlay for -114 odds. Second up, go to another parlay, starting with Chicago and Philadelphia. Chicago are last in the East and all of MLS. Philly are first in the East and are only behind LAFC in the Supporters' Shield race. Chicago have just 1 win in their past 12, and that came against DC United, which is the only team tied with them with 14 points, way down at the bottom of the standings. Philly has just 1 loss, and no team has allowed fewer goals than the Union with 12. But Philly has also the most draws in MLS with 8. They're 2-7-0 in their past 9, which is great. They're undefeated in 9, but they only have 2 wins in those 9. The under is 7-2 in that time as well. Philly plays just good enough not to lose, but not quite good enough to win. Chicago is definitely not a top team. I'll throw that double chance, which is the win or a draw on Philadelphia, into this parlay and pair it with Portland to score against Houston. This game was 0-0 earlier this season when the teams met, but it's the only 0-0 draw in the past 10 games between these teams. Portland has scored against Houston in each of the other 9. Portland has scored in 6 of 8 at home and in 21 of 23 home matches dating back into last season. Houston have just 2 road wins in their past 32 away from home. Portland have the 6th most shot attempts in the league this season, which should be good enough to get them at least 1 goal. So, Portland to score with Philadelphia, win or draw, double chance, in the parlay for -117 odds. Moving on to Thursday, let's look at Charlotte against Austin. These are the 2 newest teams in MLS, with Charlotte coming in this season and Austin starting last season. 18 of the 20 points that Charlotte has this season have come at home. They scored in 6 of 8 at Bank of America Stadium. Despite missing over 10 players on the weekend from COVID, they had a decent showing, losing just 2-1 to Montreal. Austin just drew 2-2 on the weekend, coming back from 2-0 down, and they're now 2-2-1 in their last 5. Austin is 11-5 to the over, that's 2.5 totals, and 6-2 to the over on the road. Their matches average over 3 goals a game. Austin scored in 14 of 16 games this season, but they've also conceded in 7 of their past 8. For all that together, I like both teams to score with Charlotte against Austin at -157 odds. Those are my 3 best bets from MLS Week 17 for this midweek action over Wednesday and Thursday.